Cattails. How to find cattails? Well, the easiest way is to look for old cattails. See those fluffy heads? Those are last year's cattails, and those make good fire starter. But the easiest way to find new cattails, ta-da, is to look for old cattails. Now, you're going to get muddy, you're going to get dirty, you're going to have to be like me and get down in the muck and dig and dirt and mud and everything else. The things I do for you people, you believe that? I get down there and get all filthy dirty. So, let's make sure you lined up here on some cattails. There we go. All these young, wonderful cattails out here. Yeah, I'm muddy dirty. All these young, wonderful cattails coming up. There's a new one over here, very short. Now, cattails can get anywhere from 3 to 10 feet in height. So, let me get a couple of small pieces I got here for y'all. And let's go through this with you. Now, we're going to talk about the newer parts of cattails. You'll have to forgive me if you hear noise in the back. They're cutting grass, and some people over here are working on a roof on a house from the storms that went through a little while ago. So we're kind of doing cleanup here. Now, cattails, very important. I dug this one up. We'll use this one because it's very easy to see. Cattails are oval in shape. This is not flat. It's not round. It's oval. See how elliptical oval shape? That's very, very important. Okay. When identifying cattails, the other very important thing is the leaves grow around. See how these leaves are wrapped around each other? Leaves grow around each other and not flat up against each other when they're young, and not fan-shaped. Okay, they're oval and they grow around. The leaves grow around each one, so each one wrap. There's a leaf here, there's a leaf here, there's a leaf here. They wrap each other, kind of like think of celery stalks. You know how celery overlaps itself on each piece? Cattails do that. Now, I broke this one off right at the water level, and it's just starting to turn whitish green down at the bottom where it's coming up. But this light colored part on the inside is very tender and edible, whereas the greener it is, the more woodsy, I guess you would call it, more woodsy. But the tender part is inside and down at the bottom. Now, I pulled this one out. This is a nice 2.5, almost 3 foot tall piece, and it was down about 7-8 inches. And cattails grow this direction, so the main roots or rhizomes run off sideways. So when you go digging for a cattail, if you go chopping all the way around it, you'll cut the rhizomes off, you won't get anything. So you get this root. This is the cattail root that is edible. Well, of course, you can crush these and use the young ones kind of like a spaghetti, and there's all kinds of different ways to prepare cattails. I'll let you get on the internet and find out ways to eat cattails. But what I want to show you is this inner part right here on the rhizome, or the root stock, shall we say. See how it changes color and it's kind of whitish here and darker here and here? This is all the starch. This is the part that's got all the starch in it. Alright, this piece right here, look how white that is when I pop that out of there. This is the starchy edible part. Now, how do you get the starch out of there? Well, you're not just going to take it and chew it, because obviously you can see the fibers. See all these fibers? So what you do is you can boil it, you can soak it, you can cook it directly in the fire, you could scrape it off and just chew the bejesus out of it, whatever you choose to do. But I'm going to let you look up ways to cook this. But this is the starchy part inside and the fibrous part on the outside. You can see where that changes colors. You see all these fibers in there? It's very important. One of the ways that I really like to do it is I will cut this off, boil this, and then split it in half. Now, some people split it in half and boil it that way, but the starch leaches out into the water. Depends on what you want to do. And I scrape this with a spoon, and it's almost like mashed potatoes when it comes out that way. But that, and I mean, you can see it's like sticking to my finger. You can see the starchiness in there. That's the part you want. That starchy white stuff in there. That's the good stuff. Okay? So, the young leaves are tender, and actually they eat the young leaves. You get way down here at the bottom. See how this gets white? This is nice and tender down here. I can push it with my fingers. Okay. You can boil this like asparagus. Okay. Boil it like asparagus and have it that way. Matter of fact, in certain parts of Russia, they call this Cossack asparagus. So these tender young leaves, this part here is edible just raw. This is so tender, it just falls apart in my fingers. I'm not even crushing or pulling, it just falls apart in my fingers. It's very nice. So all this is edible. Oh, so wonderful. Good stuff. Then, the wonderful part is, these leaves that you then can use to make baskets, shelters, all kinds of other things. Sleeping mats, any way you want to weave them together and make different things out of them. Yeah, I'm not a weaver, okay, so you know, I'm just showing you the flexibility of those. Now, if you dry these leaves in the sun, they will retain more strength and their color. So if you're into making baskets and other things like that, you take the leaves and dry them in the sun. But these leaves, you can use them like palm fronds. You can weave with them. You can do other things with them. So yeah, you can peel this apart. You see how wimpy this part gets here? That's the edible part. When they get up here and get more green, they get fibrous. Not so great. But, oh yeah, all this stuff in here, great just raw. Now somebody's going to say, well, why aren't you eating it? Because, let me point out, once again, why I'm not eating it. Oh, wonderful, wonderful stuff right there. That white stuff is just, oh, so tender. The reason I'm not eating these plants, this is storm runoff that will lead down into the Great Miami River, okay? I am in Westchester, Ohio, and this will actually lead into a place called Gregory Creek. And Gregory Creek is all storm runoff from the surrounding neighborhoods, farms, and fields. Now, let me touch on something for all of you all. Cattails are semi-aquatic or aquatic, meaning they live fully in the water or really wet, damp soil, okay? So they're mostly in the water or fully in the water. They will absorb anything that comes down. So this house up here, any runoff from that yard, dog poo, you know, is in there, who knows, construction stuff, anything from the streets, the main streets, oil, grease, anything else. This guy wants to decide he wants to kill all those wonderful dandelions in his yard. He sprays that stuff, it's going to run down here into this water. These plants are going to suck that up. These plants, not only do they partially filter the water, but they also suck up some of the bad stuff too. All plants will. So if it's in good clean water, like a really nice pond or a lake or something like that, it's probably edible. Know what water is going into your plants. Know what being sprayed on your plants. I mean, I do the other videos. I'm going to turn you guys here. I do the other videos. This is part of the park. That will go walking trail along here. Right along here it goes back. And you can see all these dandelions starting to turn yellow here on me, so we're going to be doing that video soon. But these plants are not edible. I don't consider them edible because of what is in the ground or in the water. So that's why I'm not eating on them. And I want to point that out to all you younger viewers. Know what's in the water. So now we've touched on the root, what the root looks like. And remember, the root grows sideways. You have to dig down at least probably 6-7 inches before you start getting root, because cattails, as you can see this matting on here, it's going to be really dirty getting down into that. Be prepared to get wet, be prepared to get muddy, be prepared to get in there and get dirty, and that's just a whole lot of fun about gathering the stuff. So there you go, the edible starchy insides, oh so wonderful. The white, oh let me go get it here. The white tender roots, or not roots, excuse me, the white tender bottom of the cattail, okay? And we're referring to this as a common cattail, which is a broadleaf cattail. I know it doesn't look very broad right now, but broadleaf cattail. So find out what cattails are in your area. Identify those cattails. I'd like to know. Hey, I've got narrowleaf. Hey, I've got dwarf. Some cattails get only 3 feet tall. Some cattails will get up to 10 feet tall. So now I want you to be aware of the poisonous lookalikes. They usually do not grow oval. They usually do not have, I don't know of any other plant besides the cattail that gets the head As far as I as far as I know, and I have looked in numerous books, magazines, and websites for you all, no other plant gets the cattail heads on them. That fluffy head. Okay? That distinguishes a cattail. So, learn what a cattail looks like. Learn where you're going to get your cattail from. Be very careful what kind of water you get it out of. Make sure you can identify a cattail or a wild iris and the difference of them. Go with somebody in your local area who knows the difference. Okay? Look up wild irises and see what they look like young. See what they look like first coming up. See what they look like, you know, when they're just sprouting. If you get the wrong thing, you can wind up really sick, and I don't want anybody to do that. Now, later on, this is one of 4, we will touch on what the cattail uses are medicinally when they get larger, and other things that go on with the cattails. Right now, roots and just new cattails, how to find them coming up. So, get out there, get your cattails. Give me a video link of a different kind of cattail. If you have one, I'll tag it to this one. We'll do them up. I hope you guys have a good time getting out there in the mud and the muck. That's the best part. And, hey, you know, I'll see you out here. Oh, over my ankle. Stomping around in the goodies. Looking for wild edibles. You're going to get muddy. You're going to have to move last year's nasty, dirty, oily, stinking cattail stuff. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Get out there, get elbow deep, get mushy and dirty, do your thing. I'll catch you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed this quick little talk on cattails.